Welcome back. October is National Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and one local nonprofit works all year long to help those impacted. Joining us this morning is Christine Keenel, CEO of Haven. Thanks so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having us, Meredith.
So talk about generally just what the work you do at Haven is.
So Haven, we provide comprehensive services, wraparound services for folks who are experiencing domestic violence or sexual assault. And in October, we'll emphasize domestic violence, but we provide emergency sheltering, counseling, personal protection order assistance. We also help pay that and have that served. Work with law enforcement and help with advocacy through prosecution, so from the time of the crime until through prosecution. And then we help with children getting vital records. We do all kinds of things within the shelter, providing food and helping with food insecurity during that time.
It sounds like really a full circle effort to try to address every issue that can arise at some point because of this issue. Now, you have an interesting personal background.
I do.
So tell us about that and how it informed this work.
Well, I mean, you become more, I guess, aware and also telling people your story, but I was raised in a background of domestic violence, which is unfortunate, but I've come a long way through a lot of service myself. But I was 21 years in law enforcement, so I worked with the city of Southfield here locally for 21 years, responding to victims' domestic violence and dealing with these things firsthand.
And I mean, I was just talking to you during break about how it feels like, especially recently, we've seen, unfortunately, so many fatal acts of domestic violence against women, especially here in Southeast Michigan. Over the years, having worked in law enforcement for so long, have you seen it change? Have you seen it get worse?
I still think it's a very deep cultural issue that we just have to continue grassroots to say that it's not acceptable to have violence in the home, not acceptable to have violence in our schools and community. So I don't see it getting worse. I think when we talk about it, we start to hear it more. 2/3 of calls for service for law enforcement are domestic violence related, which is, when you think about it, that's what's reported. There's a lot of people that go underreported, so it takes 7 times for someone to leave a domestic violence situation on average. And so when you couple that with the underreporting, it's quite frightening, the level of violence as to what it is. The lethality piece that you were speaking about with local Detroiters, we are part of domestic violence awareness is to keep them in our prayers and to remember them and continue to fight so we don't have more victims. It's imperative that we stand against it and that we speak out. Someone's experiencing it now, so you having us on today is hopefully someone has the courage today to reach out to Haven.
And you have an event coming up that's encouraging men to really get behind this. Tell us about what's happening.
Well, what we've realized, we'll speak, if one of our Royal Oak students is listening tonight, there's a gentleman who just spoke up and said that when we speak about Haven and what's consent and what is a healthy relationship, they oftentimes feel like they're being told or being put in a view of being the abuser because there's this common stigma that men are the abuser, and men experience domestic violence as well. Children, boys experience a lot of domestic violence in the home. So we want to make sure that we have men at the table with us. So it's not just women supporting women. This is us coming together as community, and we need to make sure everybody's at the table to have that conversation and let them know they're not alone.
Yeah, and tell us about the event, just where it's taking place and when, and how people can get involved.
Sure, it's October 23rd. It starts at 6 p.m. It's at Haven in Oakland County, over in Pontiac. And you can get on our webpage under events and click register, and our staff will send them an email and giving them some tips on what they need to do and where to get there. And that's going to start the conversation. We're hoping to at least get 50 who bring a friend and make it our first 100 men of Haven.
Well, it's such important work. Thanks so much for all you're doing within this community, turning your personal experiences into advocacy.
Yes.
And I hope it's a great event. Thanks so much for joining us, Christine.
Appreciate you having us.